Oh my God. Once I get a peace of mind, I'll be able to communicate with y'all better. But I wanted to come on and from a poverty point of view, I want y'all to know what's going on in New York City as far as federal money is going. Okay? First, coming back to New York City after coming from a beautiful land, I noticed that Harlem was gone, okay, called Soto. And I noticed how, because coming back, I could not find no housing in New York City. It was complicated, it was hard, it was difficult, and it was almost impossible. So, therefore, I had to be placed in a terrible situation. It was like Moses being placed from a kingdom into the pit. That's how I was placed. So let me go on and say this. Let me bring it up to 2025 so I could get directly to the point. I now seen people of Kamala Harris, ex-vice president, thank you, Jesus vice president, ex-vice president of the United States of America, sell out the communities of Bronx, New York. Why I say that? Because the people that got the property look just like her. In other words, I'm Black American. There are no Black Americans in my community, but really me in my community. You either Indian or you Spanish or you Mexican. That's in my community that I'm in. No black faces, barely running around. It was like the beginning of school when I used to go to school. And I had to come on and say, my rent started off being $1,700. Now, the Democratic Party feels it's okay to make rent $4,000 in the ghettos of New York. So when President Trump is cutting federal funding of unnecessary expenses like, why do you have to pay $4,000 to stay in the ghetto? Y'all, as a community, want to say he's wrong. But what he's wrong about is having that ugly Elon Musk in the Oval Office without the proper attire and in our face. We did not elect Elon Musk. He need to be sitting down where the news reporters are sitting down. We don't need him to explain anything. If he is, he needs his own podium. He don't need to be in the same face, in the same space as President Donald Trump. And he really needs to see that. There are overcharging, unnecessary programs that are not doing anything. Each program is telling the ghettos of America that they will find them housing that is difficult, and housing that they cannot find really, because the private owners just want the Black Americans and poor Spanish Americans to be able to pay their mortgage. And the disrespect that they are allowed to have residents of United States of America ghettos endure is like slavery. It's like slavery, and it's wrong. And it's wrong. And the housing preservation development is no longer going to appease the ghettos, the poor, the needy, and the people in need. I said the needy and the people in need of housing. Because when they get this federal funding, they only offer, if they got 300 units and they get federal funding, they only offer like 25 units, if maybe less, to the public of need. This greed that federal funding, medications shouldn't be costing an astronomical price. Generics costing whatever that word is. High prices. I'm just saying, if we're going to have these programs, they don't need to be demolished. They need to be reviewed. And what needs to be reviewed, instead of taking away Catholic charities, what needs to be reviewed is a set rent amount instead of an over exaggerated rent amount in need to the public. In other words, no landlord should be allowed in the ghettos to charge rent of $4,000. It should be a cap, because this is really getting ridiculous. And the money is honestly getting stolen. Black Americans and poor people in America have been strangled by the lies and the deception of the Democratic Party. So much to the fact that we had to follow a person in our consideration as an independent, but he's a Republican Party. What is it going to be? Suffering? Because if the ghettos got to suffer in order to not have a president elected that will let millions of undocumented immigrants, millions, instead of trying to find a beautiful way to develop their beautiful country, they need factories, not China. Not China. Those beautiful places that they made into resorts is the Garden of Edens. Those people need to be set free. Welcome to Jamaica. All of Jamaica need to look like the resort that you go to that people have monopolized with money. It needs to stop. The billionaire islands need to stop. They strangling the Garden of Edens. Mexico should have they should be making our own phones. Why do we have to buy Apple products? Why? And Elon Musk didn't do nothing new, didn't invent nothing new. All he has is the money to apply to put something. Those are ugly, cheap 10 cars that he got running around here. Okay, it's disgusting. Tesla this, Tesla that. A Tinkerbox, rusty Tinkerbox. You know, I'm just saying. I came on to say this: the federal funding in programs have been exaggerated, over exaggerated by the millions. And then Donald Trump, if you want to come for the vouchers, shit, I can't. Go for who is being allowed to receive this housing preservation development money and develop for their own prosper. Corporations, businessmen are allowed to now invest money, federal money, for their own profit. And this has been allowed throughout the Democratic Party and Donald Trump. You know all about it. Okay? So start with the top dogs, because America citizens are suffering enough. Elon Musk, we did not elect him. And we're tired. As American citizen, I'm tired of seeing him in the Oval Office with he don't even have enough respect as an American citizen to put a suit on. I'm saying right now, American citizens was desperate because we needed safety and we needed our black jobs back. And we needed those countries to stop being strangled. and not able to make money and not able to be in a beautiful country and survive. They have to want to, and they have to come to America in order to get an economic economy. So if you want to be a president of change, be one, like I said before, of President Lincoln. All right, y'all. I came on, let me just sum it up. What I'm trying to say is that federal funding has been over exaggerated by the Democratic Party. And they have allowed in the ghetto apartments $1,700 to damn near $3,600, doubling it for what? For what? All of these American dollars. And who funding is it? Black Americans, poor Spanish Americans, and poor white Americans. And the farmers of America should not be screaming about nothing. That's something that Donald Trump need to handle himself. I find it to be quite embarrassing. Every time I see President Donald Trump, I see Elon Musk next to him. And he looking like he's sitting to the side. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. John F. Kennedy's son, John F. Kennedy Jr., was the only child taking a picture under the desk of the Oval Office. And now it's Elon Musk's son popping boogers and, in my opinion, listening to gossip, him disrespecting the president. Wow. I don't like that. We need to be respected and patriotic. And there needs to be some respect to the American flag and to the Oval Office. And that man need to learn how to dress properly. Elon Musk I'm talking about. And Donald Trump need to check him. And we need to stop seeing him and Donald Trump in the Oval Office. And we don't need to hear him speak. If you're going to speak, speak somewhere else. And speak on a platform by yourself. Whoever want to listen to that mess he got to say. Or whatever he got to say. Because things got to calm down. Because this is not no mystical, magical kingdom. This is heaven and this is earth together. And it will be as it is in heaven. Or it will be no earth. I can't wait to get myself together and be able to get off this avatar and talk to y'all and build this platform back up.